Hey everyone, it's Hawks, and welcome back to Hawks Talks. Today, we're going to be taking a look at The Blazing Star, the Warrior Cats book that's, you know, that I could barely even find a high enough resolution picture of the reprinted cover on Google to use for this video. If you remember last time when we talked about the newest book, River in A Starless Clan, you might recall that I mentioned that I'm currently reading Dawn of the Clans. And if you haven't seen that video, by the way, you can find a link to that in the top right of your screen now. But I'm happy to report that since then, I've managed to make my way all the way up to the beginning of the 5th book. So far, I've had my reservations about the arc, but I actually found myself to be really enjoying the first 3 books, outside of, maybe how slow the Sun Trail and Thunder Rising get at the end. But all in all, I'd have to say that it was a generally pretty good experience. But oh boy, did that change when I got to the 4th book. My god, The Blazing Star has got to be one of the worst books. Yes, not just for warriors. I'm talking about the worst books that I have ever read. I have no idea how this arc managed to take a nosedive straight into the dirt so astronomically hard, but hey, here we are, and whew. Okay. This book is actually, really bad, and it's not just one part that makes it horrible either. It's, really almost the entire thing. There's just so much wrong with it that you can't even begin to make up excuses for it. The quality of the writing is ridiculously third-rate at times, even for warrior cats, and the first chapter of the book especially is hands down probably the worst chapter in the entire series, and I'm not just talking about Dawn of the Clans here, I'm talking about ever in Warriors. And then there's what they did at Clear Sky, which I'll touch on more later, but they literally murdered everything about his character that made him good, and not to mention the fact that they gave half of his personality to Grey Wing for some reason. So Grey Wing just starts acting like a nearsighted and one-dimensional bozo towards his responsibilities for almost no reason, halfway through the book. And then, of course, there's Starflower, which, I'm going to be honest, actually kind of saved the book from being the absolute bottom of the barrel for me because of how, frankly, refreshing her character archetype is, especially when you consider that she's in a Warrior Cats book, which, to my knowledge, I don't think they've done this kind of character except for her. But, I have a feeling with how obvious they made it that they're going to bring her back, which I actually like the sound of, because I'd love to see her actually explode into that mean girl or whatever. I'm gonna hold my breath on that one, considering what they've done to everyone else in this arc so far. But yeah, the first chapter though, I mean, just wow. Where do I even begin? Let's take a look at a quote here. Fair warning, this will be with some minor spoilers, so if you want, you can skip ahead to the time on screen now, but I'll censor the really important stuff if you don't mind. Okay? 3, 2, 1. However long it takes, Tall Shadow went on, we will make a hole in the ground big enough for all of our fallen allies to lie in together. In life, they were torn apart. In death, they will be united. Thunder felt every hair on his pelt prickle at the words Tall Shadow had chosen. Unite. That was what they told us at the end of the battle. Unite or die. Yes, this is what we Yes, this is what we should do, he mewed hoarsely. Greywing, Windrunner, and River Ripple gathered around, murmuring their agreement. Now, I don't want to get into the moral implications of, dumping a bunch of cat bodies into a giant hole in the ground, but even without that, that's not even the... what is Thunder saying? Oh, what is Thunder saying? Why is he literally just yes? Bro, you can't make it up. Honestly. The main contributor to why this chapter is so poorly written, in my opinion, is that everything feels forced and unnatural, like it's just trying to catch up with itself using a bunch of exposition dump, but it just fails entirely to follow up on the emotional tone of where the last book left off at, that it's They were banking on people either forgetting how this all happened or not caring enough to actually see how off-putting this really read as, especially to concurrent readers. It, and subsequently the next like 4 chapters, probably could have used another round of editing and would have been fine, but we can't go back in time, can we? Over the course of this, you'll really start to realize that this is ultimately where the book completely falls flat. That just disconnected storytelling that doesn't nearly fit the bill for the standard that the last book set for the rest of the arc, even at their worst. Clear Sky and Grey Wing, in the same sense, are also unrealized to what their characters really were trying to go for initially as well, and I just don't get it. Clear Sky falls from this delusional, power-obsessed lunatic to like a quiet boy yes man with basic Warrior Cat's protagonist syndrome, who really just ends up doing nothing, but is still punished and stripped of his status regardless, which is honestly really unfair to how good Clear Sky genuinely was in the prior books, that it all just seems like a disservice to his former character. And having to say former character at all, it's just not it. And Grey Wing, on the other hand, ends up suffering from much of the same problem. While, of course, trauma and what have you is handled differently across countless people, the authors cannot just keep punching these characters in the gut and making them run away from their problems like they're not wanted anymore. Especially with how much responsibility that Grey Wing holds and what he really owes to Tall Shadow's camp and Turtletail's kids. He's an adoptive father, and you give him a Joker arc, then make his kids feel like they're not important enough for him to suck it up and just be an adult? So you make him turn tail and run away? That's not Grey Wing. And his kids especially don't deserve that when he's all they have without whatever they're trying to do with Slate. Even if I end up liking Slate, it's just not right. Give your adult characters some adult sense of responsibility, or don't put them in such compromising positions that might start implying more than what you bit off than you can chew. And finally, Starflower. She should not have been the palate cleanser of this book, but in comparison, her story is some of the most cohesive and of general quality that this book can offer. I would have loved to see her more, and I can't really talk much about her without spoiling the book, but I really wish that I could convince myself that they're not going to mess with that potential that she has. If she's taken in a real antagonistic direction, she would be the perfect replacement for Clear Sky's nonsense, especially with, how that plays into Thunder, but honestly, I probably could have done without One Eye at all, and would have definitely preferred if it was just her to begin with. Great characters so far, though, just not fully explored. But anyway, guys, that'll do it for today's video. I know I kind of left on a bit of a sour note, but it's my opinion, and if you want to share yours, even if you disagree with me, tell me in the comments down below how you feel. Please consider dropping a like, and maybe even consider subscribing if you want to see more videos like this. If you're interested in a more positive review, check out my video on River again in the card at the top right of your screen now, and give it a watch. Thank you all so much for watching. My name is Hawks, and I'll see you all later.